This top five list isn't in any particular order, but let's just get straight to it. So first things first, we got Death Note. Death Note holds a very special place in my heart because it's probably one of the first animes I've watched, and to this day, it was probably the closest thing to perfection until, if you guys know, you know, but a certain someone dies. After that, it was still very good, but as a complete show, it did go slightly down. But I would still probably give it like a 9 out of 10 or 9.5. It was incredible. And it was even the ending. I was just so upset when it finished. And I was like, wow, like this is it. Like there's no more content of this. Next, we got Attack on Titan, which is actually the most recent anime I've completed. And I think my experience was kind of ruined because I kind of waited too long to watch Attack on Titan. Like I watched the first season a couple years ago, and I started the second season, but I just never continued after that. But this past year, I've finally been able to rewatch those two seasons and finish the other two, and I've been spoiled throughout the past few years on Instagram, on YouTube. I even, the curiosity got the best of me, and I literally read the last chapter just because it ended, and I was like, I want to see what happens. And now that I finally got to finish the show, it was still an incredible feeling, and I am a little bummed out that I did kind of ruin the experience for myself and that I waited so long, but it was still incredible, and I'd still probably give like a 9.5, maybe a 10. It was probably the, it is probably, in terms of quality, it is probably the best show. It might not be my favorite, but in terms of the show itself and the quality and the writing and everything, it's probably the best show I've ever watched in terms of anime, obviously. And I do believe that if I wasn't spoiled at all, it'd probably be 11 out of 10 for me. Next, we got Hunter x Hunter, which is actually a funny story. I actually watched the first like arc a few years ago, and I didn't really like it. Like I just dropped Hunter x Hunter. I thought Gon was kind of annoying. He was too like cheery. Like he just seemed too positive. I don't know. Maybe it was a weird reason to stop watching it, but I don't know. It didn't really feel anything special, and I dropped it. And then I came back to it a year after or something, and I actually continued, and I'm glad I did because the York City arc is probably a top 10 arc of all time. And then when I finally got to, what is the arc called? Chimera Ant arc, that was incredible. I don't know why so many people don't like that arc. In my opinion, it's actually really good. I do agree that after a bit, like maybe a few episodes, the pacing does get kind of bad, and I feel like they could have like finished it or like gone over what they needed to have done in shorter amount of episodes, but it's still one of the best arcs I've ever watched, and Hunter x Hunter holds a very special heart to me. Same with basically all of these shows, but similar to Death Note, when I did finish it, I felt so empty. I was like, wow, this is it. And then I plan on reading the manga, which I never ended up doing because if you guys have read the manga or looked at it, it's way too much text. But I'll get to it eventually. Next on our list, we got Vinland Saga, which I think when I originally watched the first season, I actually wasn't too big of a fan. And I think that was just because I was very simple minded. I didn't really like process what I was watching. I thought Thorfinn was kind of a crybaby. I thought his character was very like one dimensional. I was like, so all he does in the season is see his father die and then just chase Askeladd and hope to kill him, and then in the end he doesn't even get to do that. I just thought it was kind of pathetic. I thought Thorfinn as a character was pathetic, but my friend, shout out to Aaron, he recommended me to try out the manga, see what happens afterwards, and it was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. I think Vinland Saga is probably the best manga I've ever read. I haven't read that much manga, but It's either Vinland Saga or The Fable. Shout out to The Fable. Amazing manga. Check it out if you guys have the chance. I think the anime actually came out recently, so you might as well start the anime or the manga. It's incredible. No spoilers or anything. Just see it for yourself. Read the first chapter or watch the first episode. But anyway, let's get back to the topic. I read the rest of Vinland Saga. I'm basically caught up. I haven't read the past maybe 10 chapters just because I'm waiting for it to finish so I can just read them in one sitting. Or just, I'm honestly just being lazy. Can't lie. But yeah, the second season, which obviously has now been animated, was incredible. I still think that the manga is significantly better than the anime. I think Mappa did a decent job with the animation, but honestly, this might I don't know if this is a hot take, but I preferred season one animation over the season two. I feel like it didn't fit as well, but the manga was significantly better for the second arc, and I continued reading. I read the third arc, which was it is probably as of right now my favorite arc from the four. It was incredible. I was so happy to see Thorfinn fighting again, and just his character development continuing to get stronger and develop was it was so amazing. There was so many parallels between him and Askeladd. I don't want to give too much away, but it was truly it is probably in my top 5 arcs ever. And this is a manga arc, and I'm considering anime arcs as well. It is incredible. It's one of the best fiction I've ever read. And then season 4, or like the last arc, which they're now in. I think they're probably like 80%, 85% done with it, maybe 90%. So far, it's really good. I did give it a break, but I think what I kind of didn't, what I wasn't able to understand at first when I watched the first season of Vinland Saga was I just thought that I was confused about Thorfinn. I was like, is this it? But I think for anyone that did, watch season 2 or read the second arc, they can see how beautiful of a character Thorfinn has become, and I'm truly thankful that I continued and I gave it another chance. Now looking back at season 1, which I actually did rewatch, it is really good. The animation's amazing. The world building is amazing. The pacing is really good. Everything is good about it. I think my only problem, as I just said a few times, was just the character himself. I thought Thorfinn was just a little pathetic. And maybe that's a weird take, but I was like, is this it? But I'm glad I continued. It's amazing. I think I talked a bit too much about Vinland Saga, but my last one, my last anime in my top 5 is Bleach. I think this one is kind of obvious. Basically, my whole channel is based off Bleach. I post Thousand Year Blood Work, our clips, and Bleach holds a very special place in my heart. It is the third anime I watched in terms of the big three. I first watched Naruto, which at the time was probably my favorite anime. Then I started watching a bit of One Piece, which I've only probably watched until like Alabasta. But One Piece is amazing. It might be the best anime of all time, but who knows? Maybe when I do continue to watch, maybe the pacing does really get bad and I change my mind about it. But from what I watched, it probably is better than Naruto. It is not the same nostalgia, or I don't think Luffy's is as inspirational as Naruto, but it's still incredible. And then I watched Bleach as my third anime from the big three, and I think overall, if you consider the story, maybe Bleach isn't the best from the three, but it's weird. I like anime for specific reasons, and this is my top 5 favorite, not the top 5 best anime I've ever watched. I just really like Ichigo as a character. I think he's definitely the best written from the three. He's the most mature. I don't know why people say he doesn't really have a goal. He does. His goal is reasonable. He just wants to protect his friends. He doesn't have to be a Hokage. He doesn't have to be the king of the ocean or whatever. I think the side characters are significantly better as well. They might not be as well written as maybe One Piece, but either way, I think one of the things that mainly intrigues me about Bleach is maybe just the characters, the design, they're just beautifully made, and I'm a big fan of most characters. Like, there's just so much uniqueness throughout them all, and it kind of applies the same with Seven Deadly Sins. If you guys have watched the anime, Seven Deadly Sins is probably my top 15 or top 20. The show itself was actually maybe like mediocre, maybe like a 6 out of 10, maybe 7 out of 10 at best. But I just really enjoyed the fantasy world. I enjoyed the characters a lot. I was a very big fan of Bond, Meliodas. Like, I don't know, maybe the development wasn't as good as on the other animes, but I still really enjoyed it. Maybe that's weird, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. Anyway, that's my top five. In no particular order, as I've mentioned before. This is just my top five favorite. I think right now I'm watching Yu Yu Hakusho. I kind of dropped it for a bit, but I'm gonna get back to it. Yu Yu Hakusho is probably gonna get into my top five. In terms of which anime it might replace, that's hard to say, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.